That's all over the mic.
Well,
yeah, what a movie we just watched.
We sure did.
The 96?
1996.
Movie Muppet Treasure Island. What a crazy movie. Very fun movie.
You know, I didn't think our first musical on this
first musical
on this series would be Muppet's Treasure Island, but it sure was. It's hard to call it a musical. It has musical numbers, but would I really call it? Would you call it a musical?
It's a Muppet movie.
It's a Muppet movie.
And Muppet movies have music in them.
Mm-hmm.
Are they musicals? Yeah. But, like, it's first and foremost a Muppet movie out of anything. It's a Muppet movie first.
It is a Muppet movie first. And in the past, I haven't exceptionally liked Muppet movies. I've seen Christmas Carol. I've seen the ones with Marshall Erickson from How I Met Your Mother, Jason Segel, and I've never been super attached to them. But Muppet Treasure Island, it's different, and maybe that's because I like pirates. Sue me, but
I think I will go on to my deathbed saying that this is the most Muppet movie out of any of the Muppet films, whether it's the direct-to-DVD ones or the
They act ones. Most like Muppets in this movie than they do anywhere. Like, you get the arm swaying, screaming kind of.
Yeah, like when you have Muppets blowing up and Muppets like cracking jokes and breaking the fourth wall, that's the Muppets I want. I don't want over serious. You could have that sometimes. You can have that, especially when Jim. Okay, we're gonna get into spoilers soon. So, spoiler alert for everything that we are going to bring up in this podcast, whether it's this movie or another movie. Chances are we're gonna talk about it. But like when they're doing the scenes with Long John, like every scene that he's in, he plays it like he's in the movie with other actors.
So that's what I've seen is like this one and Christmas Carol are so good because of Tim Curry and Michael Caine. Is Tim Curry acts like he's a Muppet among other Muppets, and Michael Caine pretends like he is a human acting with other humans, and that's why Tim Curry is like so good in this movie. Is he feels like he's actually a pirate acting among other human actor pirates when they're just puppets, and but he does what like. He acts like a true pirate in this movie. And I know that's the story based on the book of Treasure Planet or Treasure Island.
Treasure Island.
I have seen Treasure Planet before. I've never seen Treasure Island.
I do have who the original book's by because I looked up the book because I kind of want to read it.
Yeah, but I've seen Treasure Planet many times, and that movie is fantastic. So if you haven't seen that, go see that. I've never seen the original Treasure Island or read the book.
Because I think it's from the 1960s, at least the original movie is.
It's pretty old.
And then the book is by Robert Louis Stevenson and released, let's see if it has an original published date here. No, it's just the new book that's published, but I think the original book takes place 1883, it just said. Oh, no, the original book was published in 1883.
The book was published in 1883. That's insane.
So pre-20th century.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And, like, the works just... Like, this movie came up like, what is it,
100 years later? Yeah.
Great for them. Like,
yeah. And to make it into a Muppet movie as well.
Yeah. I mean, there was, like, a Disney classic... I mean, I wouldn't say classic because I'm not sure how, like, well it did in the box office, but... I mean, generally really loved amongst the community of, like, Treasure Planet.
Yeah. Did this come out before Treasure Planet did, or, like, after?
Oh, I believe it would come out before.
Yeah, I feel like it's, like, a Muppet seems so much less technical than, like, an animated movie, but I could be completely wrong on that.
I believe Treasure Planet was early 2000s. We'll see. 2002.
Really?
Yeah, so... Yeah. This came out before Treasure Planet.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they let it breathe for a little bit. It wasn't a Disney property. Muppets wasn't by then.
By the time.
Yeah, they did. They had, like, I think agreements between each other that, but like, I don't think they were owned by Disney yet. Because I think that Disney bought them in like 2011. And that's why we got 2 more Muppet movies. So yeah, I think the story I haven't read the book, but it follows Treasure Planet pretty well as well.
Comparing it, because I've seen one and not the other, it does follow very well. You don't get like the Scorpion guy who's the one to cut Arrow off the boat. It's Long John, and then there's completely, I won't want to say completely different ending, but the way that they find the treasure is through like some native community on the island, so that's a bit different. But other than that, like the story between Jim and Long John is very similar to Treasure Planet, which I was telling you this during the movie, which we didn't want to talk about too much. But the relationship between Long John and Jim, I feel like is built up a lot more in Treasure Planet than it is in this one, Muppet's Treasure Island.
Yeah, it's very glossed over in this. I believe Treasure Island may be shorter though, because it's animated.
Yeah.
So
the original movie or Treasure Planet is animated?
Treasure Planet is animated. Yeah. I think it's shorter of that relationship. I mean, but as far as Long John goes, he does have like a moral like standing of where he like stands on certain business. It's kind of like the same way Johnny Depp in Jack Sparrow's role. You kind of do know where he stands, but you don't always know the direct like, oh, what's he going to do now?
Yeah.
And so like there is the whole, I do love a pirate that has a gray area, and it's great. It's literally great. But the whole idea that pirates are just evil doesn't sit well. Like, you can have bad pirates, but
yeah, exactly. Like, I don't think anyone is evil completely, and I think pirate is a great place to go with that, because you can see, I think you can see where they come from, because it's such an isolated situation, like on a boat like that. You can see where they're coming from and who they're against, and you're getting Long John versus Kermit's character. I mean, they're both technically pirate. They're going after the same treasure, and that's where it kind of loses me in this movie. Is why is Jim picking a side one over the other between John and Kermit? Like, he's getting the treasure either way. Why not go with the side that you know it probably has the upper hand?
Yeah.
It's not necessarily evil. I mean, the only character that John really goes against in this movie is Captain Arrow, when he sends him off to sea. But I mean, he comes back in the end. I know John didn't know that, but from Jim's perspective, it's almost like flipping a coin. Why go with one instead of the other? Yeah,
I mean, you have the whole, and in Treasure Planet, Arrow does not come back.
He's gone to space.
He's dead. And I think in the book, Arrow's probably dead.
Oh, most likely.
And I mean, I bet it's probably more talked about in the book, their relationship. I bet there's more time because you just have the book and it's like whatever. But in this movie, it is very glossed over. It isn't like really in depth. Wish we had more of that.
I feel like that's the most important part of this story. Is that relationship, because then you have that like tug in Jim's heart of like, which way do I go in this? Like, is it just for the treasure, or have I found someone who like truly understands me as a person?
You can also tell when Long John is manipulating him.
100%.
Because he is, when Jim goes, oh yeah, my dad died when I was 7, he was a first mate. And he goes, wow, me too, I was 8 though.
Yeah.
And it was the same story, he just changed the age that it happened.
Yeah.
So, and I think there's very clear times where you can tell what's happening when you, like, when you're older and watching a Muppets movie, of course you're like, oh, that's what he meant by that. But like when you're a kid, you're like, oh, pirate bad. But like when he gives the wine to the first mates, he's obviously trying to poison them.
100%, yeah.
Like, and then what's another thing that happens that the whole basically when they give up, like that Long John's the bad guy, obviously, and like when they're in the basement and he's talking to like the bad guys
and they're hiding in the apple crate. Yeah.
I mean, I think that definitely happens in the book because the same thing happens in the
in Treasure Planet.
And so, like, I wish we read the book. That would have been great to know.
We probably should read the book at some point.
Yeah, do a nice recap.
3 beers in a book, maybe.
3 beers a book. Oh my god, that's crazy. A 1 month episode, or 1 episode a month. Crazy how that could happen. But, I mean, I think it was done well for a Muppet movie.
I think it's definitely the best Muppet movie I've seen. And again, maybe that's because I love pirates. But even like during the middle of the movie, I was thinking this to myself. I'm like, do I really like this just because it's pirates? Or do I like this because it's actually compelling? And I think I liked it because it was compelling. Which I know I've heard Christmas Carol a bunch of times before. And I know the story. And so I understood how that one went. And I know they've done their Muppets original movies. And I've seen Muppet Vision at Hollywood Studios. And like... good story as well, but something about the Muppets had never hit for me, and I think this one did more, and maybe that's because they're hitting as Muppets, maybe that's because of Tim Curry acting like they are fellow cast. Like, something about this one was so good to me.
On your Muppet Vision point, I think this one was filming the same time as they were filming Muppet Vision.
How long ago did they film Muppet Vision?
So, I think Hollywood Studios opened in 99. And so if this movie came out in 96, Muppet Vision's like an opening day attraction at Hollywood Studios.
Which means they must have made that contract between this one and Disney.
Yeah, and so I think a lot, like the whole, in this movie they're like, oh, who would have a theme park based on a comic mouse?
Yeah. And
so I think that's a nod to like, oh, we're also doing this for Disney.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, like, if that was happening at this time, but it would generally be filming around the time that they, at least very early on, like, scripting would probably be taking place around this time.
They did nod to that, which I thought was funny. And then when you brought it up, like, oh, they weren't into contract with Disney yet, I'm like, oh, that's interesting then, because there's no way no one takes a nod at Disney and not takes a hit for it unless you're working for Disney.
Yeah. And so, like, I think that's what lends the Muppets so well with Disney, is that it's kind of more Disney if it was for tweens. Like, the nice, you're about to become an adult, you're about to become like a teenager where you'll start liking more mature content. But the Muppets is like the stepping stone where you can still have like teenagers like it, and you can have kids like it, and adults like it as well. Like,
see, to me, it was so opposite, because I thought Muppets was more of, like, a kid's thing, because it's, like, it's puppets, it's not real people, and, like, it's not dark and gritty. Like, when you start to get to teenager, you're like, oh, this is childish, I'm going to throw the Muppets out. And so, I feel like you don't get that center age, you don't get the teenagers, but you do sort of get adults, because they liked it as kids, and then they threw Muppet Babies in there.
Yeah. Muppet Babies.
Never seen Muppet Babies, but like I know it's a thing to get like the younger audience. But I feel like you miss that middle age. But when you start throwing in I think that's where Muppet hits, is that middle story. Is, oh, now it's Treasure Island. Oh, now it's Christmas Carol. And when you start getting those other stories in there that teenagers might like, I think that's where Muppet hits.
Yeah, and I mean, they do have, like, the adult comedy that, like, Shrek had.
Yeah.
And, like, oh, if you're older, you'll understand it, but if you're a kid, you're like, oh, what did he say?
Yeah, the jokes go over your head. It's like Aladdin or Madagascar. You missed it completely.
Well, yeah, I mean, Muppets is, like, its own category, almost. Like, you can lump it into anything. Like, a Muppet horror movie would go crazy.
I still want Muppets Knives Out.
Muppets Knives Out.
It would be so... I mean, they did just release the cast for the new Knives Out. I think we've talked about this. But it would be so good.
I didn't see the whole cast.
I know Jeremy Renner's in it.
I mean, I really like Jeremy Renner.
Which I think they established Jeremy Renner as an actual, like, Jeremy Renner is Jeremy Renner in the Knives Out universe because of his hot sauce.
Oh, really?
In Glass Onion.
Oh, that's
But other than that, I don't know what the story could be.
I mean, I don't know. I hope it's done well. I think Knives Out was made by the same people who made Argyle, and I really liked Argyle.
I didn't see that one, but I didn't hear good things about it.
So I know they released the spoiler that happened in the movie.
Yeah.
To just the general audience. But they basically made the spoiler on like TMZ or something where, spoiler alert, Argyle is the main character.
Yeah, she's the writer.
And that was like spoiled months in advance.
Yeah, so they pushed it on Twitter, and it's like,
so a lot of people just like didn't see it.
Yeah.
But like I really enjoyed the movie. It was like cute, it was funny.
Mm-hmm.
It was like there were emotional beats, and like, I mean, obviously our viewers probably know this by now, but if a movie entertains me for 2 hours, it's fine in my book. It will get a 3 rating at the very least.
See, I needed to do more than that, and I enjoy. I love watching movies, but a movie needs to hit a lot of beats for me to like rate it high. I guess a 3. I could give it a 3 if it entertains me, but if the story's not compelling and it's like missing a lot of plot points, it's got to go lower than 3.
Yeah, and I mean, like, every movie review is its own thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you have like Letterboxd, where sometimes it's all over the place. Sometimes like you have IMDb and then Rotten Tomatoes, where oh yeah, the people who actually are paid to review movies don't always review movies the nicest.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, they're probably more cynical. They've seen probably a lot more movies. They have a background in like some type of studies.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the audience score is just through the roof because like, hey,
the audience liked it.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, box office is what determines if a movie's successful or not. Which is the sad thing, because we may not get sequels to like good movies, even though like the audience or like people think that they're good.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't do well in the box office, so it just kills the movie.
Yeah.
And I mean, we can see that, I don't know, with Argyle almost. Like, they've set up so much for the sequel, and then probably won't get a sequel. Probably get a Netflix movie.
I mean, if you're getting, like, I hate to say it, if you're getting Dua Lipa as one of the actors, like, you couldn't have put that much into the movie.
Yeah, I mean, that's all Glass Onion is getting, like, very well-known actors and just putting them into a murder mystery.
Which I don't mind. Like, I love Knives Out. Glass Onion was not as good, but I don't mind Glass Onion existing as a movie, because you're getting people like, oh, I wish this person was in it. I wish this person... You're getting a lot of attention through Glass Onion, and you're getting, like, people posting, oh, I want this movie to exist. And now that Benoit Blanc cinematic universe exists, and so you're probably going to get more. Even if Glass Onion wasn't great, Knives Out was, and because you establish a second movie, you're going to get more.
And I mean, I have not seen Knives Out or Glass Onion.
You haven't seen either?
No.
They're both, I mean, I don't want to say they're both so good. Knives Out is really good. Glass Onion is okay. There's a lot to Glass Onion that is missing, but as a sequel, it's not good to Knives Out. But as an original movie, I think it would have been pretty good.
Yeah, and I mean, that's like, what is it? Have you seen Rebel Moon on Netflix yet?
I haven't seen it, no.
So Rebel Moon was officially, like, it was written to be a Star Wars movie.
Mm-hmm. And
then Disney bought Star Wars. And so Rebel Moon was basically scrapped for the side for now. And then they released it as a independent film, but I think they have lightsabers. And I think they have other elements of Star Wars. Like, they have a clear dark side and a light side.
Yeah.
And so it's very... like,
with Rebel in the title, yeah.
You could have been able to tell that it was Star Wars, but it's the whole idea that, like, a good idea doesn't go to waste.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I like things like that. Like,
I mean, do you get like, is the movie explicit? Like, do they have names that are like very Star Wars?
I think they switched some things up.
Okay.
So I think I haven't seen the movie, but I know the general like the backstory behind its creation. But Rebel Moon was supposed to be a Star Wars movie, and then Disney just.
I wonder if it's better than the sequels, because the sequels.
I heard really good things about Rebel Moon.
Yeah.
And then I just refused to see it because I really like Star Wars and I don't want it to get ruined. But I mean, nowadays.
At this point, I think I should watch it because it's probably better than what Disney has put out. And if Disney wasn't on it at the time, it's probably pretty good.
Yeah. And I mean, we all love good Star Wars. We pray for it sometimes. And
Goddamn Acolyte.
Goddamn Acolyte. But there was a lot of like movies that could have been made around like the early 2000s, almost early 2010s, that Disney just bought the rights to and then never did anything with them.
I feel like that's all Disney's doing nowadays, is just growing their empire and not building off of what they have now.
Yeah, like they leave the Muppets alone, for instance. Like,
why? There's so much you can do with the Muppets. You could extend to like so many different movie like groups and like make a movie of the Muppet, and people will love it.
I do have a question later. It is, how do we save the Muppets? But we'll leave that for later because I feel like we could go off on that.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, there's so much that you can do with their abilities. Like, they just bought 21st Century Fox like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. They bought Star Wars, Lucasfilm. They own Willow, like our first ever episode. They own all this stuff, and yet they won't do anything. Like, you can even see in the parks that Universal is creating their own, like...
They got the Dark Universe coming out, which is super exciting. That's got to be the best one that they're putting out in Epic Universe.
I saw a really cool video essay on why they're doing Dark Universe the way they are, and it's because they're setting up the movies to come out soon.
Those movies are going to be so good then.
So the original idea behind the Dark Universe was the Mummy that came out with Tom Cruise, and then that movie didn't do well.
That movie was ass.
So they just killed it.
Yeah.
And like Johnny Depp was supposed to be the Invisible Man. Javier Bardem was supposed to be Dracula, I believe, or the Wolfman. And then somebody really big was supposed to be...
God, one of Disney's best movies recently was Werewolf at Night, or like whatever it's called. The like practical effect werewolf movie that they did. They just threw it out there. They didn't even release it in theaters or anything. It was so good.
Yeah.
If Universal did something like that, I would be so on board for like a dark universe, like cinematic universe.
I really hope that the dark universe that Universal does takes place in like the 1920s.
Yeah. I
don't want it to take place modern day.
No.
Because like you already have the Godzilla Kong universe, the Monsterverse, I think it's called.
I haven't seen any of those. I'm not paying money to see them in theaters, and I really don't just want to spend 2 hours of my time watching Godzilla or Kong on my TV in my free time.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound entertaining to me, but there's so much they could do with like Swamp Man or like
Creature of the Black Lagoon.
Creature of the Black Lagoon, or a real good Dracula movie.
Yeah. Like, there's so much stuff, like, and you can have it all cultivate as a Van Helsing movie.
Yeah.
And Van Helsing has to kill everybody. Like, have it be one phase of Marvel, and then you could just have new characters at the end of it. Like, your character vault goes deep with monsters. Like,
even if they just did one phase and ended it after one, I think it would be a great, like, 5 movies at least that you can wrap up in 5 movies. Yeah. Like, 4 separate that maybe tangle into each other a bit, but then you have a Van Helsing who ties it all together and wraps it up in the end.
Like, and there's the whole... I would probably start with Creature of the Black Lagoon for that, because then you can be like, oh, they find a pyramid in the Black Lagoon, and that's like the mummy's pyramid.
Yeah.
And like get into that, and you can have like one of the doctors be I forget what the Invisible Man is, but like there's a lot.
I don't know the story of those creatures.
You can have like Victor Frankenstein be a doctor on this expedition, and he's with the Invisible Man as a doctor, and like, oh, these guys are just names, but they'll come back later.
Yeah, and
that's how you do it. You don't.
I feel like those monsters have so much story to them, like because they are doctors at first. If you build up a story with like Creature of the Black Lagoon, and then you kill him, and let's say he explodes at the end. I don't know what the story would be, but let's say he explodes, and an arm goes flying, and Victor Frankenstein is like, they pick up all the pieces, and Victor Frankenstein is the one to bring him back to the lab, and he's like, I could build something, and Frankenstein's arm is Creature of the Black Lagoon. How cool would that be?
Yeah,
that'd be sick.
And like, or you could just have the arm be moving.
Yeah.
And him be like, oh, somebody's still alive after they die.
Uh-huh.
And that could be the setup for Frankenstein the movie.
There's a lot you could do there, and I don't know how many, like, I've been to Universal a few times. I know they have that, like, rotating, like, sandwich shop or whatever it is.
They got rid of it.
It's gone?
Yeah, it's now Minions Land.
No!
Yeah, everything got Minions Land.
Listen, Minions are great. I love the Minions.
Don't Minions my land.
Don't Minions my land. You could have shifted it 15 feet to the west or whatever and kept it.
It was literally just a building. Like, yeah. You could have moved it.
Also, that's great for Halloween Horror Nights. It's just there.
Yeah.
It's ambient space. Am I going to walk next to Minion Land when I'm supposed to be... Damn it.
I love the whole idea of like theme park people just being like, no, we're going to do this for...
Who is in charge of that?
I don't know. I sincerely don't know who's in charge of the Universal planning, but...
I feel like at least whoever is in charge of Epic Universe is doing a good job.
Yeah.
But whoever's in charge of like Universal Studios right now, what are you doing?
Like, it's just be better. I hate to say it, but we don't need Minions Land. No kid is like, we really need Minions Land.
I mean, they just came out with Despicable Me 4. I'm gonna go watch it in theaters. It's not great. It's not very good. It doesn't hold up to the first three.
Did you watch it?
I did.
Oh.
It doesn't hold up to the first 3 Despicable Me's. Mega Minions. The Mega Minions are great. I'm not even going to hold back on that. I love the giant rock minion that eats everything. Fantastic. They did a good job. The rest of the story, it's Will Ferrell as a French guy.
Will Ferrell's in
this? Will Ferrell's the villain.
That's right.
Turning everyone into a cockroach. Not even he turns 2 people into a cockroach. He turns himself into a cockroach. He turns a gas station like register guy into a cockroach, and then he turns Gru's newborn son into a cockroach.
What?
Gru has a son and he's a baby. Like, well, I'm gonna steal Gru's son and turn into a cockroach. That's the whole plot. And the rest is Gru trying to play tennis against the snooty neighbor who's Stephen Colbert. And I'm like, there's too much going on, and they got caught up on releasing a new Despicable Me movie that they forgot to write the movie. It's not good.
Just create new movies, man. That's what happened with this movie. It's like, man, I miss old movies.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's just all practical sets. You can tell that everything's there. Like, the actors are talking to Muppets.
Yeah.
They're not talking to a green screen creature that isn't in the real world. I know
they didn't have that technology at the time to do it, but I feel like you don't even need that nowadays either.
Yeah.
Just do it. I have been watching. So I watched The Boys recently. I caught up to The Boys.
Second episode.
I'm caught up now. And then I watched Gen V. And honestly, I think one of the best scenes in the entire show is when Sam is a puppet and he's killing all the other puppet soldiers. Yeah. It's so good.
It's so great when like a character goes crazy and they start seeing people as like cartoons.
Yeah.
Like it's awesome. I love when like in this movie when you have the Cabin Fever song.
The Cabin Fever is very good. John at the beginning is like, oh, Muppet Treasure Island has so many bangers. Like every song is a banger, and the first song starts. And I'm like, John, this is not a banger.
And then I turn to him and I just go, No, there's two in here that are so good.
And he was right. The two that you said, it was Cabin Fever and then one other one. It was the
pirate song.
Yeah, that one at the very with Long John is very good.
Very good. And the professional pirate song is just such a good telling of like what the pirate in this movie, like his moral background is.
Even though at the very beginning it's like ho ho heave ho or whatever, when they're getting the treasure out is very good as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, really, really good fun stuff happening in this movie. The jokes are really good.
Jokes land pretty. I think it's so funny that Gonzo and Rizzo play themselves in every Muppet movie.
Yeah, it's like how like when you have a character that is just like audience supplement.
Yeah,
and that's basically just what Gonzo and Rizzo are for the entire like Muppet franchise. Yeah, they're just themselves and they're reacting to everything. They're dimming the camera for most of it.
They really are. It's like I did. The rat field trip when they're like halfway through a scene. It's like, did you know this is the scene of Muppet's Treasure Island? It's like, yeah.
And you kind of need that, like when you're a kid. You need that like juxtaposed, like
it breaks away from the heavy pirate motif that's going on.
Oh yeah. What's his name? Tim.
Tim Curry.
Tim Curry. He's about to kill Miss Piggy halfway through this movie.
Yeah.
He has a gun to her face. And, like, it's a good disconnect.
Yeah.
And, like, every Muppet movie is basically in universe of the Muppets. They're filming this movie for real.
That's so funny, because it's like, saying, Kermit the Frog is this character, and Fozzie Bear is this character, and it's like, and like halfway through the movie, I'm like, this is technically them filming a movie. It's not.
Yeah, it's not them actually as those characters. No. It's just them filming a movie.
And that's so. It's a character playing it's a person playing a Muppet playing a character, and that's so funny.
Yeah, it's great. I love the Muppets.
They're really good, and I haven't given them enough credit, but they really deserve it because they're so good.
And I wish Disney did more. I wish they did.
I mean, you can't overdo it with the Muppets because then, I think they'll lose the charm. But if you're throwing in a Christmas Carol, Treasure Island, and something obscure with the Muppets every once in a while, you're like, this is fantastic. Why have I not ever heard of this media before?
This is great.
Yeah.
We love it. I guess without further... what is it? Review? Further ado. We should probably start asking questions. Get the show on the road.
What you got for me this time?
Oh, so we got some good questions.
As a Muppet expert, what do you got?
As the neighborhood Muppet I was about to say escort, and I was like, whoa! No, I'm being felt up.
Miss Piggy. That's pretty good. I gotta give it to you.
Yeah, sorry,
shaking John's hand now.
Sweaty handshake. I have to wipe that on my... So I have, if you're new to the channel, we have this section where we have 3 fun facts. I created one of them. Ryan has to guess which one I created.
Mm-hmm.
But 2 of them are real. And we'll go forward with this. Number 1. The original option for this movie was supposed to be based on the legend of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table.
That would make a very good Muppets movie.
Very good Muppets movie.
That would make a really good Muppets movie.
Yeah. And they chose Treasure Island.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think the reason why they wouldn't choose that is probably because of the religious undertones. And I think it's a crusade movie.
Don't distract me. Don't distract me with the questions.
Number 2, the movie was the largest Muppet count ever created with a Muppet count of 217 individual Muppet creations.
So you're talking to me throughout the whole movie Wait till I tell you the Muppet count for this movie.
Ryan, when I tell you that this was the first fun fact I saw, and
but I swear to God, if it's like 216 and you just change the number by 1.
No, I wouldn't do that. Okay. Because that's what I did last time.
Uh-huh.
And why would I fucking do that?
I don't know. Who knows?
I need to win. So we gamble. And the third one, Tim Curry copied a family member's voice for playing this role of Long John Silver.
It doesn't say which family member?
It doesn't say which family, no.
I think that one's false. I think Muppets Crusade would make such a good movie.
Muppets Crusade?
They might have skipped out of it because of religious undertones in quotations. I don't think you're fudging the number. I think it's not specific enough that Tim Curry fudged a family member's voice.
So number 3 is
3 is the fake one.
Well, Ryan, you really think I counted how many fucking Muppets are in this movie?
Someone has to count the amount of Muppets.
Ryan's 2 and 3.
I'm wrong?
2 wins and 3 losses.
Oh.
I created the middle fact that
you fucker.
This was the largest. I was so much on that throughout the movie. I was like
loving me the entire time.
I was like, there were so many Muppets made for this movie.
What's the actual number? Do you know?
I don't know. I made it up for
you. Suck.
I made it up. When you were like, "Oh, that was probably the one you created and changed the number," and I was like, "No, I just created the number."
I hate you.
I love this section of the podcast. But
2 and 3 is not bad though. 2 and 3 is
But
not
I
bad.
mean, it was originally between this and a King Arthur movie.
They should still make that.
Yeah, they could today.
It would be so Holy Grail, and that would hit so hard.
What year did Holy Grail come out?
God, let me look that up real quick because that movie's fantastic.
Because if Holy Grail came out the same time, I could see why they wouldn't want to make it. Like, if it came out in, like, the 90s, like 92, then that would have been production of this movie.
75.
Yeah, so there
quite a bit before.
There would have been enough time. And is Robin Hood King Arthur adjacent? Because I think they name him in Robin Hood Men in Tights.
I feel like it's different enough if you're doing a Robin Hood story as opposed to a Holy Grail story. But you don't have to include Robin Hood, like, or whatever, because you also get A Knight's Tale, which is like the jousting one with
Heath Ledger.
With Heath Ledger, and that one's really good. But like you don't, it's not the entirely same story, and like it's just medieval. I feel like it's not copying if you do anything Robin Hood as opposed to Holy Grail, which if this one was 18 years before, 17 years before, that's enough time to make a recreate. I mean, Batman comes out every 10 years or something.
I think Muppet is thriving on public domain, like things becoming public domain too, because. As mentioned before, they do a Wizard of Oz movie. They do a... what's the other movie that they do? That's based on... I don't think they do another one.
I think you say, as mentioned before, I think you brought up Wizard of Oz while we were watching the movie.
Yeah, while we were watching
I don't think you brought it up.
Yeah. So Muppets did a Wizard of Oz movie, and it's very... if you were in a car traveling to a... like, and you had like the DVR set up, you had... the like TV that came from the roof in your car. Like it's a very that movie. It's like Rookie of the Year. If you ever seen that, it's Sandlot. Sandlot is that movie.
Have you seen the one animated one with the baseball and the
Hero?
Hero.
Yeah.
That movie scared me as a kid.
It's terrifying. It's so Uncanny Valley.
That's one of the first not even animated. It's one of the first movies I saw in theaters with my dad. We went to go see Hero. And he's getting chased by the train. He could have just run off the fucking train tracks. Run off the train tracks. I don't care. But I got so scared that we had to leave the theater, and I went to go see the very end of Barnyard. So the first scene I ever saw of Barnyard was the female cow, like, giving birth.
Were you ever... Do you remember the first movie you were sentient for?
It might be that one. As far as I know.
I think for me it was Madagascar 1.
Madagascar is fantastic.
It's great.
But for me, it might be Hero. I can't remember anything before that. I don't know what year it came out, or like what year other movies came out, and if I saw them their releasing year. I think that might be the first movie I remember seeing in theaters. Because
I remember so vividly our thunder striking the movie theater, and we just lost power. And then everybody was just in the lobby eating popcorn. And they had a dispenser machine where you can get little figurines of animated characters.
Like a gacha? You put a coin in, you twist it, you get the thing, or
you get the thing in the bubble where it's clear plastic.
Yeah.
And it was Pixar movies. And so I had, what's the tan rat from Ratatouille? Emile.
Yeah.
I hate Emile.
Fuck you, Emile. Let's say, who is, it's you!
It's you!
It's Emile here.
Yeah, so, podcast listeners, you guys don't know the story, so we'll tell it. We were in the line for Ratatouille.
At Epcot.
And, if you're in line for a Disney ride for a certain amount of time, the dialogue will repeat itself. We were in that line for, I think, 2.5 hours.
Not only that, but when we were about, 45 minutes into the line, this kid runs past us. And he's just, running through the entire line. I'm like, what is this kid doing?
And shit is
And then his mom follows him. I'm like, they're just cutting the line. And then the smell hits me.
Yeah.
This kid had shit his pants.
Yeah.
And he's trying to get out, and I'm like, oh my god.
If you ever have kids, don't take them to Disney unless they're potty trained, please. That's the one thing I don't understand.
If you have a stroller, what are you doing at Disney?
If you have, if you can't walk.
On both age spectrums, on the very end and the very beginning.
If you can't walk physically under your own power, once I become an old man and can't walk anymore, I know enough to know, hey, Disney's done for me.
Super hot take between us.
Super hot take. But personally, if you can't walk, I don't want...
You're making the experience so much worse for everyone else.
Because, what is it? My friend Cody, he had an annual pass when he was very young with his parents. The only thing that they wouldn't go on vacation, they would just go to Disney.
If you're in a wheelchair at the ages between 78 and 5... Go to Disney. I don't care.
If you're eligible for presidency and you're going to Disney World, what's wrong with you? And then, what is it? My friend Cody, somebody in the Jazzy, which is the scooter, ran over his foot when he was 8. And it's just if somebody did that to my kid, I don't know what I would do.
Tip him over?
I would tip him over in the Jungle Cruise. I don't mean this, but I would probably be very protective dad in this instance. But
Jungle Cruise,
what a time! That was the last ride I think we rode together.
I think it is. We haven't been together since
because your pass ran out that day.
No, because we went to Animal Kingdom together.
Oh yeah,
the day my pass. We went on Dinosaur.
Yeah, Dinosaur might have been the last ride.
Yeah,
which will be the last ride we probably ever. I'm gonna miss Dinosaur,
dude. I'm so sad they're getting rid of that.
They're making an announcement. I think I saw August 10th.
Which is it? Bug's Life or is it Dinosaur they're turning into the Indiana Jones ride?
Dinosaur.
Okay.
Because basically Dinosaur is a shot-for-shot remake of Indiana Jones but I don't know if they're getting rid of the entire in-house
system. Dino Land or whatever.
Yeah, I think they're getting rid of the entire thing.
We're gonna get hit on because we're talking about Disney parks again.
Yeah, we're gonna get hated from our fans,
our close fan,
our close friends,
our haters basically.
Yeah. But, I mean, I like talking about the parks. We'll talk about it later with one of my questions that I want to bring up. like want to.
So what else you got?
We'll see. Number one question. The movie is based on the book Treasure Island. Which Muppet recreation of a book would you like to see?
I haven't read that many, like, fantasy. Actually, that's not true. I've read a lot of fantasy books, but there's not a lot of, like, kind of fake sci-fi, realistic fiction. Is what I'm going for. There's not a lot that I would like to see depicted as Muppets. A lot of the ones have been school associated, so I'm getting stuff like All the Light You Cannot See, which is World War II, which you can't make a Muppet movie.
I do have a question later about specific
World War II?
No, specific specific movies.
Okay.
That, like one person is removed.
Yeah.
But I mean, there are some books that you can probably do.
There haven't been a lot that I've read. I've either read totally fiction or like realistic fiction that would not be turned into a Muppet movie. So I think I'm blanking on this one.
I mean, you could redo Wizard of Oz, because if you've seen the Wizard of Oz,
which I have not seen,
it's not.
Is Wizard of Oz a book?
Yeah, it was originally a book. It was about I believe around like Depression times, like Great Depression America, and it was the whole us going from the gold standard, so like follow the yellow brick road.
Yeah,
that's us gold standard, and then Tin Man is the silver.
Yeah,
and like those books are pretty neat, and like there's very specific undertones to like how we talk about them.
I feel like you could do. I don't know what Western books there are. I feel like you could do a really good Western with the Muppets.
What, Western Muppets? Yeah. Like an old timey movie with them.
Yeah. Almost like Rango, but like
Lone Ranger. If that was a book,
that would be really good as Muppets. Yeah.
I don't know. Fozzie be Tonto. Fozzie would be canceled because I think Johnny Depp was canceled.
Johnny Depp basically would, but like he did. I feel like he did. I think he did pretty good. I don't want to say it all, but I think he did pretty good.
I did not see the old Lone Ranger TV show. I don't know how well he did at Tonto.
I didn't see that one either. But the movie.
The movie is so good. I say this with...
It's got to be the reason it's not on Disney Plus is because he got, like, canceled for it.
I wouldn't say that. I think it's just, like, probably issues at this point.
Because of Johnny Depp and the Amber Heard thing? Yeah.
And I mean, they can't get rid of Pirates because it's Pirates.
It's Pirates, yeah.
But, like, all his other stuff that's owned by Disney, like... I always thought Johnny Depp was Jack Skellington for the longest time. Until I found out he was...
He's in Corpse Bride, though.
He's in Corpse Bride.
Yeah.
And I always used to get those two switched because it's Tim Burton doing claymation. But, like, Johnny Depp, as an actor, I think he's in the new Beetlejuice. I don't know for sure.
I think he is. I don't know what the whole thing between Amber Heard and Johnny... Neither of them are good people.
Yeah.
But Jack Sparrow. So I don't want to give it to him because he's Jack Sparrow, but Jack Sparrow.
Yeah. I mean, getting back on the pirate thing, like Jack Sparrow is the most like when you think of pirates, everyone thinks of Jack Sparrow first, especially in today's media landscape.
And we're talking about this halfway through Muppet Treasure Island. We're like, if this movie had come out 20 years later, it probably would have been Johnny Depp as Long John.
Yeah, because like if you think about the movies coming out today with Johnny Depp, I mean, there's him as Captain Jack Sparrow. But if you're casting him as a Muppets, like you probably wouldn't have cast him.
Did you ever see him in what I think it's called like Transcendence or something? It's like he dies like 15 minutes into the movie, but he uploads his consciousness to a computer, and so he's trying to like take over. He's basically Ultron. He's trying to take over like all the consciousness, and the entire movie they're like trying to shut him down, and like you can't be in control of everything. And like near the very end of the movie, you're like getting this like cinematic National Geographic like compilation of him like, I'm in the water flows and I'm in the whatever. And he's like, I'm taking all the disease out of the... And you're like, damn, this guy's kind of a hero, like, saving the planet. But, like, the entire movie you see him as a villain. It's not a great movie, but it's kind of interesting. I don't know.
I mean, you get that with, like, the new TikTok trend. People are doing the I have no mouth and I cannot breathe.
Yeah.
With the whole Am, where he's just, like, an overlord and basically hates people.
What is that? What is Am from?
So Am is from I have no mouth and
I cannot scream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that is a very, like, it's 22 pages long, and it's written by a guy who, like, really just didn't like the war that was happening at the time, because I think it was very Cold War, like, towards the end.
See, I should just read the 22 pages, because I saw a Wendigoon video on it, and it was, like, an hour and a half long. I'm like, that's a long time.
So there's a video game Let's Play on YouTube, and there's no commentary, it's just the story, and the writer voiced Am in the video game.
Huh.
So you get what he would have wanted.
Okay.
To be voiced at.
Yeah.
And it's very hatred of people existing. And so you have, like, 5 characters, you have what they symbolize to him. And so there's, like, I think one of them is Garrison, which we know Garrison, but he'll never listen. I know Garrison.
I do not know Garrison.
There's Tim, I think the main character is. And there's, like, he just calls people by the, like, name that they hate. And so, like, basically it's like, oh, you're being tortured forever. And you lost all sense of time, and basically it's how it ends. The last person ever basically sacrificed all the rest to make sure that they can die, because living was way worse. And then and the computer turned him into a fleshy, like, creature that can't physically kill themselves, and so he must live forever. And then he has no mouth and can't breathe, hence the name I have no mouth and I must scream.
Yeah.
And so that's how I believe it ends. I didn't read the whole thing, but it's a really good, like, character study. I sound like a scholar right now.
Yeah.
Of, like, the human psyche of the Cold War, and really just, like, fun stuff to, like, I mean, very fun media, very scary media at the same time. Love horror. One of my favorite genres. I know we can't make every episode horror, but
we'll get back to it at some point with another horror movie. But
yeah, I mean,
hopefully better than Talk to Me. I
mean, we were talking about Krampus, doing that possibly today. Probably one day we'll do it. But I mean, Gremlins, another great horror Christmas movie. We're gonna do a horror movie in December, probably.
100%. Between one of those two, yeah.
Oh, not the Deadpool 3 episode. Oh.
We talked about doing a 3-part movie, Deadpool 2, and Deadpool and Wolverine, 3-part back to back. It could happen.
It could happen.
It's possible. I don't know if it would work as a guest episode, because it would take a guest's whole day. Whereas I don't know if a guest has a whole day, but we do. But we'll get a guest on here at some point.
We could definitely text one of our guests, and I think he would be
open to it.
Yeah. And so, I don't know. It could be something really fun. My liver would hate it.
Oh my!
We're dying.
I forget we have to drink that long. Drink through 2 movies, go see a movie, come back and keep drinking. I think
the 4th person needs to drive us.
Yeah.
Because there's no way we...
No, I'm puking through the whole...
Yeah. The Deadpool 3, by the time we hit there, it'd be fun if we started and then did Deadpool 1, and then we did Deadpool 2, and then we went to watch Deadpool 3 and then finished.
Yeah.
So, like, we record the episode, and we record the 3rd episode. And it's just one day.
Oof. I mean, depending on what order releases, we could release this before Talk to Me and see how people feel about this idea.
Yeah, we could see how the Please comment.
Guys, please.
Oh no, my phone. I swear that's where I get the questions. I'm not on my phone. But I mean, like, yeah, like, we want to field teasers into there.
We want to hear what you guys think.
We want to hear what you guys want to hear. Like, we can't just be asking friends, please comment. Please. But yeah, that was my second question. We talked about that.
How many questions do you have?
I have 5.
You got 5 again.
Yeah.
Cooking.
I really like writing questions mid-movie and just being like...
I see you on your phone. I'm like, John, get it. Oh, no, he's writing questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, like, sometimes I really try to get them out of the way really quick just so, like, I can watch the movie more.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to miss anything. Like, especially if it's a movie I haven't seen. Like, this one I've seen probably when my parents got divorced. So probably like 5th grade I probably watched it. Haven't watched it since.
Yeah.
I didn't read, like, as I said, probably didn't read the book.
Yeah.
I think we were supposed to read that during COVID, but, like, I mean, it was COVID. I wasn't going to read. Education during COVID? That didn't exist.
No.
As an educator. So number 3, we got a nice question for us. Gonzo... It auto-corrected in my phone. It's supposed to read Gonzo and Rizzo. It reads Gonzo in Arizona.
Okay.
So Gonzo in Arizona were tortured in a medieval device. Which medieval device do you think you could keep a secret of a treasure map with?
Honestly, that was one of my favorite scenes of the movie because they're trying to stretch out Gonzo.
Yes,
and his limbs just keep going.
He's enjoying it.
He's enjoying it. And then later you see him with his, like, 10-foot long arms and legs that are, like, wiggling around. It's so funny. And I'm trying to imagine how they do it practically. But between the torture and the question, I only know about a few. I'm not surviving the Golden Bowl. If you don't know the Golden Bowl, they put you in a giant golden bowl and they heat it up and your screams sound like a bowl screaming.
The bronze bowl.
Yep. And then there's the one where they put a bunch of rats under you and then they heat up the rats and they crawl through you. I'm not surviving that one.
Yeah.
The only other one I really know of is Milk and Honey.
Oh yeah, when they send you down the river?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They send you down the river, they just feed you a bunch of milk and honey so that you poop everywhere so that flies come and get you. Maybe?
I mean,
out of the 3, that's the one I can survive.
Yeah. And I mean, granted, you can't... No, they're winning the drinking game. But, I mean... You don't have any protection. Like, you can't, like, squirm, really.
No, but if you're being interrogated, that means there has to be someone else on the boat with you. Yeah. Which means they're also being affected by the flies. Are they taking the flies as well?
I think they might have to take the flies.
So, that's gotta be... I mean, also the stretching, which...
Because there's only so much you can stretch.
It's gotta be, like, 2 inches at least, like, total.
I mean, because you have those stretching boards for, like, athletes that they, like, are, like, basically Frankenstein.
Yeah.
But they're Frankenstein backwards. Frankenstein's coming up a lot.
What do you mean backwards?
So there's, like, boards that you can use to get taller, and it, like, adds, like, 2 inches to you.
They do bring up the NBA in this movie,
which
is so fucking funny. Gonzo gets stretched out. He's like, "Dang, I can play for the NBA now."
And that's such a hot topic too, because I'm about to get sports nerdy here, but it takes place during the 1990s, so 1996. So you have the '96 Bulls, which is the best best Michael Jordan team of all time. Lost, I think, 6 games. Probably 16 games the entire year, and then won the finals.
Yeah.
But they weren't beat until you had the Warriors in, like, 2016. That they were just the best basketball team to ever exist.
Yeah.
So Steve Kerr, we're getting into sports nerd talk.
You're losing me.
So Steve Kerr, who was he was like the secondary point guard on the '96 Bulls. He was the coach of the 2016 Golden State Warriors. Mm-hmm. So it's just like a funny thing to be like, oh, he's that Steve Kerr.
Yeah.
And so who was the GOAT? Maybe Steve. Maybe he's a really good coach though. I'm really happy for him.
Yeah.
So where were we?
But yeah, between stretching the Golden Bowl, torture. We're at torture. The rats and getting sent down the milk and honey aisle.
Because you also have like the Iron Maiden.
Which one's that one?
The one where it's like nails, and then they close the like lady on you.
Oh yeah.
So you could have that. I don't think that was. I mean, you have the chokey that was in Matilda, and I think that's the most like real Iron Maiden that you probably would have.
I know they would like drive like nails or like spikes into a barrel and then roll you down a hill. I know that was one of them.
Yeah,
but you're just dead at that point. That's not even torture.
Because like they didn't have tetanus shots back then. You're just dead.
You giving someone oh okay.
Like they're getting like they're not like, hey, we're gonna try this medicine on you. Tetanus.
I think fingernails would get me. I think so. Anything fingernails or anything eye related. If they're like, we're gonna drive a spike into your eye if you don't tell us, I'm giving them all
like crucifixion, like
no, like lobotomy, kind of like through it. Yeah. I'll tell them everything.
Yeah, like don't do that to me. Like I'm fine. I'll be on your side this time. I'll show you where you need to go.
As much as I love an eye patch, I wouldn't not
cool.
have one.
As a pirate, the eye patch would be cool though.
Uh-huh.
And then you're so stoic because you just have no brain function.
You're so mysterious.
You're like, oh, how was your day, Captain One Eye? And you're just like, today smells like rain.
You're telling me 2 minutes into this movie, the scariest Muppet in this entire movie is the blind guy?
He's so terrifying.
He's so cool. He's so funny.
When you're 6 and you see the Muppet Treasure Island, that is the most terrifying.
Because he opens the door and you see one of the eye patches, and then he turns and you see the other one, and it's like this guy's he can't sense anything. And the guy draws a gun across the room. He clicks he clicks the revolver, and he starts spinning like a tornado. It disarms the guy. What an epic turn of events!
What an epic turn! And then I don't know what other medieval torture. I mean, there's the one where they put weights on your legs, and you're basically on a triangle.
Oh, like in the Salem witch trials.
Yeah, like Salem.
More weight.
Yeah,
That guy.
I mean, that's just being like crushed. And I mean,
see, I think I could be the more weight guy in that situation.
That's a really cool saying in that moment.
Yeah,
I forget what his name is.
Like at that point, your back is most likely broken.
Yeah,
like
at that point, be cool.
More weight, like or being burned at the stake. That's not torture. That's just a killing.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the Salem witch trials. I wish I looked at more history of that. I think when I take one of my classes in fall, that will be where...
I can't remember what movie exactly it is, but it has Winona Ryder in it, and she is like one of the main characters in a Salem witch trial movie. That one's pretty good. I watched it in my English class in high school, but I don't remember what it's called, but it has the more weight guy in it.
Oh, that's cool.
But it's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, the Salem witch trials, crazy time.
Oh, yeah.
In the U.S. history, especially now. Like, still a crazy time.
You look back on it, it's like, what the fuck were we doing?
We were just burning people.
Yeah.
Like, it was so mysterious back in colonial times because you had, like, Roanoke just going missing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and there's a really cool aspect to that. Like, when I took history in college, basically our teacher gave us her theory on it. And she's like, oh, yeah, they probably just met with the natives. And because there was tales of blue-eyed native people and like Native Americans don't carry that gene, so it was very...
I mean, we bring up multiple times during this movie of like superstition during Muppet Treasure Island, like how pirates were superstitious. It's like it's got to come from somewhere, and like superstition isn't just a trait. Like we came from England, and so did the pirates, and so pirates are carrying some sort of those tales, and they're expanding on them as they're out at sea for months at a time. Like
I think everybody to a certain extent is superstitious. Mm-hmm. And if you say that you're not, you're lying. Like, if you're in a basement at night and you're, like, in an old house, yeah, I bet you're...
If you're scared, you're superstitious.
Yeah, you think something's probably happening. Whether that's animal instinct, like, oh, I'm in a dark place. Mm-hmm. I know all of these situations. But, like, even if you're just walking alone, like, on a country road at night, you're like, what if, like, something came out?
If you're in Garage B.
If you're in Garage B.
If you hear an animal, it's not.
Me when I crawl on all fours. But, like, I mean, everybody to a certain extent, and, like, I think believes in something that's unknown to us. Mm-hmm. And I think, like, some things, all it takes is for one story to be real.
Yeah.
All that it takes is, like, one thing that, like, oh, I can't explain, and it's like, okay, that's something.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's what everybody's intrigued with, like, ghost TV shows, like Mystery Files on YouTube. Mm-hmm. All these, like, things just cultivate into, like, the human psyche just wanting to believe in something more. And, like, I don't think we talk about this on Interstellar, which just came out today.
Yeah.
But if you guys haven't heard that episode, please like and comment and subscribe.
Gotta be one of our best so far.
Really good episode. But if, like, the whole unknown aspect, are we the only things? And I don't think we can answer that, especially today.
No. We're getting there, I think, at some extent.
Yeah, I mean, you have Project Blue Book, which I can go deeper on. Project Blue Book.
I've heard of, I know nothing about.
Eventually, another alien.
We'll get there. Watch another alien movie.
Watch
Alien.
We'll talk about Project. Also, if you're a little Easter egg hunter, Alien is one of the posters on our Instagram comments. So if you guys are fans, please, it's great. But yeah, I think it all comes from everyone being superstitious at the time, like pirates especially, because they're at sea for how long? Mm-hmm. They don't really talk to other people who are not on the ship, and say someone they see dies, they might not even have a funeral.
Yeah.
And so they feel haunted. They might have, like, PTSD, and the way this PTSD comes up is, oh, they see them, like, in the middle of a battle, and they're like, that's their ghost.
Yeah.
No, you're just having
hallucinations because you've been at sea for 3 months. Yeah.
But I mean, like, if you, like, the whole mermaid, Christopher Columbus, and it being a manatee, like, yeah, of course, if you've never seen this animal before, yeah, that's gonna look like a pretty lady.
Human with a tail, maybe.
Especially if you see it in, like, Lansing, and, like, those ships are so big. Like, you're so high up, and you're like, oh.
It looks pretty small, and
It would be cool to, like, see, like, what a manatee looks like swimming at full speed, and just, like, oh, if these people were to get a glimpse of it, just, like, peripheral, oh, this is what you would see.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there was a cool show back in the day called Fact or Faked Paranormal Files. If it's on a streaming service...
I can't believe you didn't stumble over your words there. That's crazy.
I'm not drunk. Well, we are more than a couple beers in at this case. And I think we should now say the beer that we're talking.
Yeah, so I meant to say that earlier. We are... Sorry, Hammore. We're drinking Bud Light today.
We are drinking Bud Light.
Get DDoSed.
Get doxed. But we are drinking just generic vanilla, not vanilla flavored, but just vanilla Bud Light.
I think I would like that.
Vanilla beer has a...
Is that a thing?
I might go to... So, Epcot, I think I'm going to tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Because I just haven't been to the parks lately because I've been studying for tests and working. I think Norway has a strawberry vanilla beer.
Because that sounds amazing.
It does, but it's an IPA. So the way you drink IPAs, hear me out, Ryan. You keep it in the front. You keep it on your front taste buds, and then you swallow it. It's not a chugging beer.
So back in elementary school, I used to just drink.
You're drinking beer?
No. Back in elementary school, I would just drink normal milk at lunch, and then they're like, "Yeah, we got this vanilla milk too."
Vanilla milk.
Holy shit!
Did you guys have purple packaging for it?
I don't think so.
So ours was purple.
Ours was not purple, but once I discovered vanilla milk, my life was changed.
Did you mix it with the strawberry milk?
No, I didn't like strawberry milk.
As a strawberry allergic, but I'm not allergic to artificial strawberry. Mm-hmm. It's just artificial strawberry and strawberry milk most of the time. And it was dying. But strawberry vanilla. Sometimes you have the chocolate milk.
Because I had a strawberry milkshake recently, and it was so good. Like, I've never liked strawberry milk or ice cream, but then I had a strawberry milkshake, and it was fantastic. It had like actual chunks of strawberry in it. Maybe that's why, because like I knew it was kind of real strawberry.
Was that Smoothie King or?
No, it was at Frozen Gold, which is over by New Smyrna.
Oh, okay.
But it was really good. But it like kind of got me back into strawberry.
Yeah, I mean, as a denier of strawberry because of my genes for being allergic to it, I do like the strawberry taste. I can't always have it because it will make me raspy and look like Rocky Balboa. Because I woke up... This is how I found out. I ate nothing but strawberry shortcake for like 1 week in summer. And then I woke up one day and I just looked like I was beat up.
So you're allergic to strawberry the same way Patrick is allergic to peanut butter. Like, you ate it for a full week straight and then you had the reaction.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think there's a thing in strawberries because it's so like filled with acid that if you do eat that much strawberry
for a week, yeah, you'll
get hurt. And I think that's what happened with me. So I'm probably not fully allergic to strawberry. I would love to actually.
You gotta test it.
I don't want to say, let me go strawberry picking with you guys, because somebody is trying to get us to go, and I was like, why would I go if that's somebody's actual job? Like, why would I pay to do somebody's actual job? Because I'm a firm believer of saving money when I can.
Very true, very true.
As I bought a PS5, but
but it's for Sea of Thieves.
It's for Sea of Thieves, which awesome pirate game. Love pirates.
This episode is sponsored. Please, Sea of Thieves, please.
Give me
by Sea of Thieves.
If we had a 3 beers and a podcast like outfit on Sea of Thieves, oh my god,
I'd be dressed in a tee. You believe it.
You guys, I really hope one day we get to the fact that we can make merch for
people. My god, yeah.
If we could make merch, our design, like our creativity and designs would be crazy. Yeah. This is a little teaser for you guys.
Subscribe and like, please!
Please! Like and comment. I don't care if you watch the video. But like, I mean, where were we? We were just talking about...
We were talking about other questions. I think we're at 3 questions.
We're at 3 more. We got 2 more questions. Hey, we don't want you guys to feel like we're lacking in content. That's one thing that we don't do.
It's a Muppet episode. Who thought this would go past an hour and a half?
Yeah,
we're getting there.
Like 30-minute episodes, we would never
Scooby-Doo
episode. You guys don't.
You don't want Scooby-Doo.
You guys don't want Scooby-Doo.
We're making them want Scooby-Doo.
One day they'll
get there.
One day they'll get there. One day.
We'll talk about it enough to where they.
I actually skipped the question, Ryan.
Wow, we're going back.
We actually had 3 more questions, so I read it 1, 3. So number 2, because 1 and 2 are similar questions. Because number 2 is just what movie/media would you want to get a Muppet treatment? In parentheses, a few main human actors and the rest are Muppets.
I know Steven Spielberg movies would hit so hard, like Jurassic Park would be fantastic if you just keep, like, Jeff Goldblum. Yeah. And the rest are Muppets.
Because then he's flirting with Miss Piggy.
That and the T-Rex as a giant Muppet T-Rex would be so fucking funny.
It would be so good.
Or that with Jaws and the shark is real.
That was my original book idea.
And the rest is Muppets.
So Jurassic Park also based on a book.
Really?
Yeah.
I think we did talk about Alien. I think Alien would be good. Ripley stays the same, and the rest are the Alien Muppet.
Yeah. I
think when we have a creature villain or any real like big villain besides like Star Wars, I'm not gonna put Star Wars in there.
So the reason I like the Star Wars idea is that I think the best where Muppets work is when it's a parody.
Yeah.
And so I think Star Wars has so many options for funny parody Star Wars.
That's true.
And they also like...
Who are you keeping as real, though? Who are you keeping as the person?
Darth Vader.
You're keeping Darth Vader?
Forget all 6'5" of them. Yeah.
You're putting a Muppet Obi-Wan against Darth Vader?
Him taking this giant lightsaber. It could work.
That'd be pretty good.
And I mean, what is it when they blow up the Muppet Death Star? And I mean, what is it when Disney first bought the Muppets? There was a lot of overlay. So they bought Muppets around the same time they bought Star Wars.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of overlay with its how can we relate to this character and this character. It was also around the same time Jonathan, went to the theme parks. Me, who loves Muppets, loves Star Wars, saw the Muppet Star Wars merge.
They're so close to each other in the park. I'm so sad they don't do like the Jedi Academy anymore because they used to have that and it was so good. It's gone now.
It's so scary because you have Star Tours, basically, and you have Muppet Vision in between Star Tours and...
I hate to say it, as much of a Star Wars fan I am, Star Tours sucks. It's bad.
They just recently added more scenes.
It doesn't matter. It's not a good ride. There's nothing that they like give to you as entertain. Like it's just C-3PO being, oh no, where are we? And you're in one of the random planets from one of the movies, and there's nothing going on.
I mean, I would definitely say that Smuggler's Run does the spaceship ride better.
Oh, 100%.
I wish there were more parts of Smuggler Run.
I think so too. I think that's what they should have done the different planets on, because Smuggler's Run is the same every time. Where you get to control the ship. It's so much more entertaining than Star Tours. They should change Star Tours to something else, which it just came out, and I don't know if it was Scooby-Doo or another one of our episodes where I'm like, why did they change Test Track? Because they just changed it. They just changed Star Tours. They should change it again.
Yeah, and I don't know what you would change Star Tours into. This podcast does become a park podcast sometimes.
It really does. Unfortunately. It's in more of a Endor Ewok area. I think you could do... You don't have to make it a ride. You can make it an experience. Yeah. Like... I think... So, the Downtown Disney does have an experience, which I don't know if they still have, where you can put it on VR and be a stormtrooper going through a scenario. If you did that with Endor, it would be so fantastic.
Yeah. Just kill the Ewok.
I think you could do that if it's like a 15-minute thing. You make so many rooms, and then you don't have to move. You just walk on Disney's making these treadmills that go in every direction. Use that. Make these many rooms that people can go into.
I don't know if Disney owns Dune, but they could do Dune.
Just completely revamp the area?
Completely revamp it.
I guess you do kind of have Star Wars Muppet, and then you transfer right back into the Star Wars, like into Galaxy's Edge.
And then they also own Planet of the Apes, which you could kind of do like a floorless track thing of that.
Mm-hmm. I still haven't seen those movies, but
Planet of the Apes, the first trilogy, like not the original from the 70s, but the newest one with what's his name, Andy Serkis. Very good.
Yeah.
Very good storytelling throughout. I haven't seen the newest one because that's the new trilogy that they're doing.
They just start a new trilogy, or they like?
It's the Disney new trilogy because the original 3 were 21st Century Fox.
Okay.
And this one is basically they had it written for 20th Century Fox.
Yeah.
But I mean,
it's a shame.
Disney is starting to get into we're gonna make you guys hate something so much that you guys are gonna hate watch it.
Yeah.
Which I wish wasn't the case, but
which I know it's like not what they're going for, but like I hate to say it, I want to rewatch the sequels of Star Wars.
Yeah, because they honestly are starting to make stuff I would say is so bad that it makes the sequels look good.
Because I hate to hate on the sequels, but I see how much people hate on the prequels, and I'm like, why do they hate on the prequels? Hayden Christensen is so good. I'm like, dang, that makes me feel bad about the sequels. Maybe I should rewatch these and like give the actors some credit, but like they're not good. They're not good.
They should have just made Finn the main character. Everybody.
It could have been fantastic.
Yeah. In another universe.
Yeah.
We could have played golf together. Well, yeah.
Is that a Trump and Biden?
Maybe. Who knows? Yeah, but I think Jaws is very good.
Yeah.
I would keep the shark the only live action character. Because when Quint's on the... Like, Jaws was my original... I would watch that movie every day for the summers of 2017 and 2018. I just watched that movie every day.
I think you did bring him Dune again. Dune would also be very funny. You keep Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah. Silence!
He's riding on the Muppet worm.
Oh, what other juxtapose? I'll bring up my other one later because number 5 is very... What would you do to save Muppets? Actually, number 4 is that question.
Mm-hmm.
I'll change my number 5 to number 4. Who's your favorite pirate? Any pirate knowledge?
I do have a favorite pirate.
I know you do.
And this might be spoilers for the D&D game I am running for you. But it's okay, because if you look at this name, you're not going to find anything about what. It is Henry Avery, and this is a pirate that goes by the name Long Ben. He was the pirate that had the highest like bounty, not bounty, but like highest like what's the word I'm looking for? Like capture of money ever.
Oh, highest like heist.
Highest heist of money ever. He captured an Indian ship. It was worth over, I think, like 63 million, maybe billion. I'm not sure. Money, like. It was an insane amount of money today. But he started off as a privateer, and then he became a pirate, and he started this crew. I believe it was on a ship called the Fancy, and he captured this Indian ship, which had so much money on it, and he was never found. His treasure was never found. His body was never found, and I just think that's such a fantastic pirate move, is to live on with his legacy is that you were never captured.
Yeah.
So he's my favorite pirate. I do love Blackbeard, and that's because he's near the Americas. He was in like North Carolina and South Carolina and stuff where he finally got captured. If I could find his treasure, my God, I would die a happy man.
Yeah, like pirate stories are so fun. They're cool, but like they did do horrible things. They did
really bad things.
Guys, we know who's listening to this. They did do bad things.
But
just since you're a bad guy doesn't mean you're a bad guy.
Thank you, Wreck-It Ralph. Thank you, Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah. But pirate themes are so cool, and it's great. You're never caught. Who knows if anybody will ever stumble across you?
I don't think they will. And like, there's so much treasure buried off the coast of Florida, but it's never going to be found because I think it was Pat who said this, was it's buried at a like 25-degree angle 100 feet off the shore.
Yeah.
You're not going to find that. Like,
yeah. There's nothing you can do.
There's nothing you can do unless you're bringing the biggest materials known to man to dig that deep. Like, yeah. But you're not going to find it.
And I don't know. It's kind of like when Jack Sparrow, his entire thing is being the last pirate.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of like beautiful. I wish that's how like the series ended, but he's just like off on another adventure. But like him just retiring, and
they keep putting it, which I think they're making another Pirates of the Caribbean movie, but it's like God, I can't remember her name, but
Margot Robbie.
No, it's the girl from The Bear, and she's Envy and Inside Out 2.
Envy. It would be the girl from The Office.
She's not from The Office. That's Disgust. That's Disgust from Inside Out.
Envy from.
She's from The Bear. Oh, let me look up her name. It's Ayo Ebdebiri. I think I'm pronouncing that.
Ebdebiri.
I'm probably pronouncing that incorrectly. Ayo Ebdebiri. I think she is going to be the main cast for Pirates 2 or the second Pirates series.
6, yeah.
Well, she's fantastic.
Yeah, and I mean, it probably will be great. Like,
I think it will be. I think that if they separate it enough from the series that exists already, then it will be very good.
Yeah, and like that's the whole thing I want with one of my D&D characters. I just want him to finish it out. He's surrounded by treasure, and that's it. He's happy.
Which one is that?
Zamo. And like, I just want him to be the king of thieves, and he's just somewhere.
I think that's got to be his end. There's no other thing I see for him at the end.
Because there's the whole him finding his dad. Like, when I asked like names when I went to the this is spoilers for the D&D campaign that we're in, but my one character went to the realm of the dead, and he saw Death, the god, making tombstones and carving them. And, like, he saw his friend Gnome, and it was just a tombstone, empty. It's like, oh, that makes sense. And then I go, oh, is Himirin here? And that's Zamo's dad.
Huh.
And it's not. He doesn't have an end date yet.
Wow.
So that was Zamo finding out, oh, his dad's still alive, and then his sister's still alive as well. And so there's that whole subplot. Who knows if Zamo's going to make it out of wherever we are right now?
Who knows? This is a crazy story that we're in right now. I don't want to get into it because that's hours of explanation.
Yeah.
But
it will probably come across through the podcast over
who knows?
time.
Maybe we'll do a 2-hour episode of us explaining where we're at right now.
Yeah, just like on our other channel, Shut Up and Laugh.
Mm-hmm.
Have that where we post D&D stuff.
Yeah,
we could do that.
We could.
We should have an update section for this podcast. Just at the very end, just be like, "Hey, here's potential plans that we could do. Let us know if you want to hear this." But yeah, it should be fun in the future. But that's pretty much it for. I don't really know that many pirates. I know Edward Teach, who is Blackbeard, and I just know the story about when they killed him. They cut off his head, and they say, "Oh,
his body swam around the boat."
Yeah, he had some help from some sharks.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really fun stories, just like over exaggerations. And again, they're very superstitious, so they're like, "Yeah, he swam around the boat."
Yep.
So yeah, that's just how how it was back then. You were very superstitious. So question number 4, but question number 5. How do you think they could save the Muppets / Muppet Vision 3D?
And you brought this back earlier. You gotta throw them into more movies, and we just brought up all these movies that they could be in. I think these are. I would love to see them in them,
but I think these are terrible movies for them to put them in because they're already so popular. I think you have to throw them into other stories that are loved by very small communities that can become very big communities.
Yeah.
You have to put them in movies that, like, I can't think of any examples because I don't think
like Princess Bride. It has a
even Princess Bride has a very very big like section of people that really like it. I don't think you can put it in Princess Bride and be like, this is better than the original. I think you have to put them in a movie that is like, dang, people think this is better than the original. And I don't know what section that would be, but
specifically to save Muppet Vision 3D, which is very near to my heart. I think it's one of the first things I did in Hollywood studios when I first went.
Yeah.
It was either that or probably Star Tours at the time, because Rise of Resistance wasn't up yet.
Yeah.
My parents probably didn't drag me on Tower of Terror first. I know I should.
Or Rock and Roller Coaster.
Rock and Roll. I didn't ride like upside down roller coasters until like later.
Yeah.
But I think you do a Halloween show.
That would be really...
And you do Phantom of the Opera and Gonzo's the Phantom.
Phantom of the Opera, because you said Halloween, and my first thought was Haunted Mansion.
Yes.
Which they did just redo Haunted Mansion, but that would have been a very good Muppet movie.
Yeah, and no, they also redid Muppet Haunted Mansion.
They could do a Muppet Thunder Mountain.
Yeah.
If they did a Muppet Thunder Mountain movie, that would be fantastic.
Have you ever seen like the original concepts of Thunder Mountain?
No.
So it was originally going to be Thunder Mesa, which was going to be a river rapids ride. And it was supposed to have the same... So there wasn't supposed to be Pirates of the Caribbean in Disney World. It was supposed to be Western River Adventure. And it was supposed to have the same ride system as Pirates of the Caribbean. But it was supposed to be Western themed. And so there's a lot of story plots from that if they wanted to do a big Thunder Mountain ride or movie, they probably could. Because there's so much like individual art. Like there's like, I gotta show you it outside the podcast, but there's like so much stuff that it could
like lore behind the ride and stuff. Yeah,
so much more. And basically people's opening day reaction to Disney World was like, where's Pirates of the Caribbean?
Yeah.
But the original idea was like, oh, they're already in the Caribbean basically because they're in Florida. Why would they want pirates? And so there's that whole idea. But I mean, for Halloween, Phantom of the Opera could be really cool. Could have a chandelier effect where they drop the chandelier on the crowd, and that's where you get the 4D aspect, and then re-update the animatronics for the show. And then also what you can do is the Christmas time spectacular, where you can make it almost Radio City-esque. They have a Christmas show, and just make it like a Christmas episode of the Muppets doing their Muppet Vision 3D.
Yeah.
There's so much.
I feel like you could translate a lot of Shakespeare into Muppets, like Romeo and Juliet or like Hamlet. I feel like both would translate very well to Muppets. I feel like any medieval, which we did talk about before with Holy Grail, but
like Midsummer's Night Dream.
Yeah.
Probably that, where you have the fantasy aspect. And you have something that isn't really well known to people, because when you say Shakespeare, it's usually Hamlet, Macbeth.
Yeah.
God, we said it during a performance. We're going to kill ourselves. Or what was the other one? Macbeth.
Romeo and Juliet.
Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
But you can have certain things, and it could work.
Yeah.
You can also bring back the idea of a Muppet Vision. Was it they had the Great Movie Ride? The original idea was that they were going to have the Great Muppet Movie Ride as well. And so it was going to be a parody of the Muppet Movie Ride.
Which I think people would be very upset if they did get rid of Muppet Vision 3D. But people would also, like... You can't have both those with Muppet Vision. People are going to be upset if it leaves, and people aren't going to go on it if it stays.
Yeah.
So do you make it new and try and get a new audience, or do you keep it old and try and get the old audience?
Yeah, it's a hard decision.
Yeah.
What doesn't help is that Star Tours is separated from Rise of Galaxy's Edge.
I think Muppet Vision could get a new ride, which I would personally love. I can't think of a character I don't like more than the 3D guy that's on Muppet Vision.
Waldo?
Is that his name?
It's Waldo.
I hate him.
The spirit of 3D.
He sucks.
I mean, that was also Jim Henson's, like, one of the last things he ever worked on was Muppet Vision 3D.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't mind for the summer keep it Muppet Vision 3D.
Yeah.
Because it does have the 4th of July celebration.
Mm-hmm.
But, like,
I mean, if it's in the theater, it's not that hard to change.
Yeah. It just takes, like, maybe in between months you have...
Yeah.
Like, different stuff. But, yeah.
Yeah.
Other than that,
I think we can get into reviews.
I think we can start getting to... It's been such a long time since we watched this movie.
I know.
As we said, beer, it's Bud Light. I should probably put that in so I remember what it is when plugging it into our
I
stuff.
cannot wait to give my review on Bud Light.
Yeah.
We got suggested just Bud Light, or back to a normal beer, because we've been doing
fancy
Orange
ones.
Blossom and
Blue Moon.
And Blue Moon. It's something fancy. We're going back to a normal beer. God, Bud Light sucks.
Bud is... If you're thinking just generic beer, Bud Light is your generic beer.
It's just generic, and it's not any better than any... It's not better than Busch. It's not better than... What else we tried? I don't remember what our first one was. It was
So Coors was
Coors.
Coors.
It's not even better than Coors, and I used to hate Coors, but Bud Light, I'm gonna have to give really low. I think I might get like a 2.2.
2.2 even.
2.2 even.
Okay.
And I know that we're doing IPAs at some point, and I don't like IPAs, but Bud Light is not good. Sorry.
Don't worry. I'll tell you the trick with IPAs, and it's keeping it in front.
Keep it in the front. I'll try that.
Keep it in the front, and then quickly swallow.
But this beer sucks. And I was saying this about Orange Blossom, and maybe I said about Blue Moon as well. Like dry mouth, that's prevalent. It has no flavor. It's like, I don't even want to say it's going down like water, but that's not a good thing with beer at this point. It used to be, but it's not anymore.
It's like, oh, then I could have just paid for a beer I enjoyed tasting.
Yeah. And
I mean, what is it? Bud Light now costs probably $20 for a 24-pack.
It doesn't even have that high, like, it... I don't know what the percentage is on this.
The fact that
4.2. It's low.
Yeah. I mean, I do have my number written down.
Mm-hmm.
It is 3 less than yours. It's 217.
Okay.
I mean,
that I think that's now the closest we've been.
Yeah, I think because last time I think we were close on the movie.
I think we were, yeah.
And like, I don't know. This is just, if you want beer that's beer and there's nothing special about it, nothing. You don't
want to pay a lot. You don't want to, yeah.
You don't go to your parents and be like, yo, my favorite beer is Bud Light, guys. You go like, hey, my favorite beer.
Give me the expensive stuff.
Give me the expensive stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, give me the stuff that tastes good.
Uh-huh.
And we'll get there eventually. We'll get there.
With a few likes and comments.
Please like and comment, please. Yeah, we'll probably beg one more time throughout the episode. But I think that's as far as our beer review goes. There's nothing special, nothing to write home about.
What was it? Oh, 2.17.
2.17?
Yeah.
So, nice, like, 2.85.
Yeah. Our average.
Yeah.
What's your movie?
My movie? Oh, do I love the Muppets already. Oh, I rate movies too high.
Yours is going to be higher than mine, I believe.
I'm writing it down. We're going to go 4.37.
4.3, okay.
I have to. So, I'm gonna state with this. I like this movie more than Dream Scenario. But
you're not rating it higher than Dream Scenario.
I can't rate it higher than Dream Scenario.
You lock yourself in.
I also respect filmmakers, and I understand that this movie is probably not more well made than Dream Scenario. And hey, that's okay. I like this movie a lot. I can't rate it what I want it to be. But I can't rate it that high, or else.
I know I've been doing even numbers. I think I'm gonna have to rate a 4.
A 4.00?
4.00 flat. This movie's so good, and I probably rate high because it's pirates and it's Muppets and it's a musical and it's so good. But there's something that's like I have watched Treasure Planet before. And I think because I watched Treasure Planet, it brings this movie down. Otherwise, I would rate it higher.
Yeah.
But I'm comparing it to something else. And that sucks for this movie. But a 4, I think, is the best I can do for it. There's a lot gone that could be there, I think.
Also, I think I started to realize what happens with our certain ratings. Like beer, I think I had a lot more beer, so I know what bad beer tastes like.
Yeah, you have had a lot more different beers than I have.
So I'm like, oh, this is pretty decent for what I had. And
you've seen a lot more movies, you've drank a lot more beer.
So as far as expertise goes, probably outrank Ryan right now, but I mean, we're getting even. I
think we're averaging out.
Yeah, we finally hit the bump, and we're now plateauing. Eventually, maybe we'll get the thing that sucks about. I'm not going to say about this podcast, but about the way this works is we are going into a movie actively wanting to watch the movie.
Yeah.
So the movie is probably going to get a high rating, except for this movie's going to
That's why I'm so excited for guests to come on, because when we do get guests on this podcast, we will rate their movie according to other guests. So if we have our first guest on, that will be our number 1 ranked guest movie. When our second guest comes on, we have to choose to rank that movie higher or lower than our first guest movie. So come in with something good, and we'll rank you higher. And at the end of whatever our season is, we'll reward you with something.
We'll know the numbers of the seasons. I'm feeling like every 15 episodes, change the thumbnail.
Yeah.
Change the whatever.
Yep.
Have a nice season finale.
We'll get there.
We'll see what happens. But I think we're almost pretty much done.
Other than that, I don't know what else we have to talk about.
This has been 3 Beers in a Movie podcast. Please like and subscribe.
One more time.
Please comment. I said... I warned them. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.